We had a customer stop in with a beautiful older Honda Accord and nice brown metallic paint job, a lot of flake in the paint. She was backed into in a parking lot and actually found the damage after the fact. She didn't even know it happened until she had gotten home from shopping in a local mall. So she came in and we discussed the damage and gave her an estimate. And a couple weeks later, she booked it in. So we got the car inside and we're doing we warmed the car up and we're going to do some lateral tension on this. So I use these metal medic blocks, which I really like to use here. You can see the glue is pretty hot. I probably want to dial that back just a little bit, but we're going to apply pressure outward before we start to do tab selection here. We got a cam auto tab. Shout out to Charlie in Montreal and the guys. And I like to place that right on the body line, just below or above the body line, depending on where the most damage is. And we're going to apply this lateral tension first. I've got the big, beautiful machine, the post puller, getting ready to pull through the center of the tab and just putting pressure on the lateral tension. And here we go. So this is our setup here. We've got lateral tension, cam auto tab ready to pull straight on with the post puller. And we're going to see how she moves on this first initial pull. I hit the remote control, start pulling, start pulling. And we've got some movement. I think we're going to reset up and try something a little different and see if we can get it to move a little more. On to the second pull now. Actually going to use the same tab. I really like these tabs, and I'm going to go above that body line. And we're going to secure this tab, and we're going to do our second pull, a little more lateral tension. I'm going to turn the device a little more and put a little outward sideways pressure on this before we start pulling this tab. We'll see if we can get this to move a little bit more. Got to let the glue set up before we can pull, and we'll see where we're at that time. I'm going to switch up the claw pulling device to a smaller one so I can grab more in the middle instead of spread out across the rod and the tab. They make several of these claw devices that I can pull with just an S-hook and my chain on my post puller. And it really works well. We're hoping to get some really good movement here. Take my time setting up. I've got a coated chain so that I don't scratch anything. Double check everything. But here's the second pull setup. I'm going to grab the remote control, tighten things up, make sure it's pulling nice and straight. See if we get some movement here. All right, great. More movement. The dent's tightening up. Probably going to have to do some crown tapping here to soften up. And then try a third pull. We're about halfway through the dent now, so it's time to readjust the lateral tension device. Since the dent is a lot smaller, we're going to tuck in the tabs closer to the crown of the dent and put more pressure there. So these blocks can be a little tough to get off the vehicle, so you just have to be patient. A lot of wiggling, a lot of alcohol, 90, 97%, a lot of heating up of the glue to get them off, and then we're going to re-glue them and reset them a little bit closer. Wait till the infrared tells us we're down to 85 degrees, 82 degrees, and then we can start to tension it. And then we're going to choose this segmented cam auto tab. It's got three eyelets, three keys, so to speak, for the rod to go through. And we're actually going to go up and down. We're going to go vertical with this, right across the body line through the heart of this dent, and see if we can get some major movement here, or at least get it under tension, because we've got some huge smiles, eyebrows, crowns around the outside of this dent, and we really need to start tapping down and doing some work that way. So we're going to set this up, let the glue set up, and then we're going to take the post puller and do a third pull here. I really like the post puller because of the chain. It doesn't have any devices that are in the way for tapping down the crowns. It kind of stays out of your way. The lateral device is in your way a little bit, but you can generally get the light right and see the crowns, the eyebrows, and start tapping down while this tab is under pressure. And then we'll keep adding pressure, keep pulling, and keep tapping down on the crowns to smooth the dent out. We've got the tension dialed in. We're going to check the temperature, make sure we're at the right temperature for pulling. And we're going to put this tab under tension. First, we're going to seat in the perimeter of this tab. As I looked at it, I thought it could use a little more help. And gluing on the outside of this tab around the edges will help it stay in place and get an extra pull. So it's probably going to take a little bit more time for this dent to cool. You don't want to pull it while the glue is too hot. It gets really stringy and it just won't be effective. So you take your time on this part and make sure everything's set up right and give yourself the best chance to get this dent to move. So now the real work begins. We're going to put this tab, it's that segmented three key tab, across the body line. We're going to put this under some serious tension. So we're going to be pulling the entire time here, and I'm going to use a blending hammer and a secondary hammer because it helps me reach in around these devices to find the crown of the dent, the very outside of the dent, which is really ridged up, and locking the dent in. And we're going to do a lot of work here tapping. Hundreds of taps around the outside of this dent in multiple directions. The more directions you can work the dent, the better it's going to come out. Put our time in here and move microscopic amounts of metal and continue to put the dent under pressure. So once this is all done, this is what we're down to. down to the dead center, which is pretty locked up. There's a good crown around the outside. There's a couple of secondary dents here and damages. And we're going to move on to the tooling part of this repair, and going to use some of my old favorites here with interchangeable tips and get behind the dent and make a lot of pushes on the backside here. One quick tab pull, try and help it along a little bit before we do tool selection and move on to finalizing this dent. I flash the paint just to warm it up because I'm going to do some serious pushes along the body line. I've got the fender flare down a little bit so I can sneak the tool up behind the skin of the vehicle. And I choose this old DCI, Dentcraft International tool that I've had for probably 25 years or so with interchangeable tips. I'm going to make a couple hundred pushes on the back side of the low spots here and go back to tapping down on the crown, do some serious work underneath the panel. Reverse directions here to get a different view of the dent, work it in a different direction. And we're almost done here. We're getting pretty close. There's some scratches, and I need to mellow out the orange peel on this dent and get the texture and everything right. So we're going to do a 2000 grit wet sand. Once we're done with that, got a 3-inch polishing foam pad. I've got some 3M Perfect-It, some Perfect-It 2, purple bottle stuff. It's going to take the wet sanding marks out, put the shine back in the panel. It's going great. Manipulate the clear coat so it's all uniform here. And then clean that off. And then I really like this Ardex Nano Wax. I've been using this for at least 20 years or longer once I found this. Shout out to Ardex. It really puts a nice sealant and shine on top of the paint. Takes care of any swirl marks and blends everything in. We're going to clean out the missing paint with some alcohol, do a little basic sanding. Customer provided the touch-up from the dealership, and we're going to fill in the plastic scrape marks where the paint is missing for her. And we'll do a little bake on and be pretty close to done.